Hello, so I'm back for another league with this boat amulet list. Just trying to get more leagues in with it. Still not sold on the main deck Bajuka Bog. This is sort of an Andy Wilson piece of tech, bringing that back. It definitely has a lot of good matchups, and I've seen it be good, but I don't know. Is it better than another Castle Garenbrig? Is it better than another Cavern of Souls in the main deck? Like, if you just switch the Bajuka Bog for the Cavern of Souls, is that better? I don't know. What else is there for me to say about this list? I'm trying to figure out... I think I want a second Engineered Explosives, and I'm trying to figure out which of these cards I want to cut for it. I feel like Relic of Progenitus has been sort of lackluster for me. Definitely one or two spots where it looked good, but I'm not sure if the difference between Relic of Progenitus and Tormod's Crypt is particularly relevant. It is nice that you can sort of bring it in some matches and grab it off Saga. Ensnaring Bridge has done good things for me, but you know, definitely is a thing that comes up rarely, but when it does come up, it does win you the game. Yeah, I'll keep this hand. So it represents a turn 3 Titan without interaction, because turn 2 we can pact for Azusa, and then turn 3 make 3 land drops for a Titan. So I think any hand that single-handedly makes a turn 3 Primeval Titan is probably a keep. In the dark, especially because you can always draw cards to make the hand better. For example, if we draw an Amulet, that's amazing. If we draw a Dryad, that's amazing. If we draw Grazer, that's pretty good.
Sorry. Okay. I'm so sorry.
So probably facing some amount of discard spells here, but if this is some sort of like Reanimator deck, then the Bajuka Bog is pretty nice. Let's see if they'll ephemerate this. Yeah. So I guess we'll play out the map and expose the Gruul Turf so that we can activate the map. I guess the map's probably grabbing Urza's Saga in this spot. It's a tough call. I don't really see what other cards I really am looking for right now, though, as far as lands. I don't have nearly the blue mana to make Talaria West a thing in the near future. And, yeah. So I think Urza's Saga is sort of just the most natural pickup. Allows us to get some things on the board. Probably Caldra Compliot coming here. Yeah. Okay. So I suppose we will play this Grazer. Playing out the Grazer, I guess, is a little bit worse if we draw Talaria West, though. Maybe that would have been a reason to hold the Grazer for being able to like play the Talaria West and transmute it in the same turn. But it would also just make the Grazer able to be hit by a discard spell. So if they attack with the Grief here, I will make a Saga token and double block with the Grazer in the token. If they attack with just the Compliot, I'm not really interested in blocking. like to see a Summoner's Pact, a Primeval Titan, or a Karn. Those are our best draws. I don't think this deck probably plays Reanimation, but never know. Also, we're sort of concealing the fact that we have drawn the Cavern of Souls, so maybe they play a discard spell. I don't know what other card we would hold in our hand, though, if we drew it. I'm gonna hold these back. If we draw a Karn, it's better to have multiple blockers so that we can, for example, plus on the Kaldra and have a blocker for the 7/7. Gets rid of one of the amulets. Suppose I'll attack the Kaya. I expect a chunk block here is likely happening. Maybe playing out the Talaria West is a little bit worse in the event we draw, like, specifically Dryad. Because they're probably going to exile the Amulet. Kind of feel like I'm just sort of like Karn, Titan, or Bust here, though. I think in theory this is a good matchup, but Kaldra Compleat with discard spells and not drawing another threat is definitely a way to lose. Okay, so I guess in theory this keeps us alive for another turn. Maybe not. Let's see. We're gonna have 3 blocking. We'll be at 6 life. They're hitting for a virtual 9. So we're just dead. They can also exile the token. Don't think I want to attack on the artifact axis. I do think I just want a Cavern of Souls or a Bajukabog just for... I don't think the graveyard matters, and having an untapped green source does. They could be playing something out of their sideboard, like a Damping Sphere or something that would make me want the Force of Vigors in my hand, but Karn grabbing Engineered Explosives is still a thing. And Dryad makes, like Damping Sphere not really all that bad. Torpor Orb's a bit of an issue, but not enough to make me want Force of Vigor. I think I just want to leave my deck intact. I think the best. It's like Karn is almost a sideboard card sometimes, and I feel like Karn is sort of like the sideboard card for this matchup of like it gets around all the hate and creates a threat. So this hand's great. If we can avoid Grief Ephemerate, we're doing pretty good. I think we will be left with an interesting decision on turn 2 if we do get to play this Dryad of whether we're leaving the Simic Growth Chamber in play or bouncing it to hand. I think likely I'm going to end up leaving it in play, but we will see. I guess our opponent makes our decision for us. I think I'll hold off on this Saga. I think there's like situations where I want to have the extra lands in play to make Valakut happen. I mean, in a vacuum, playing Saga first is definitely the better play, but given that my opponent is also going to be playing cards, I kind of feel like this is the more like resilient line in that it creates a greater variety of threats that our opponent has to react to. If something happens to the Dryad, sure. Now we get to make some... I'm also glad, like, we didn't leave ourselves open to the blowout there. So I think I'm just gonna Pithing Needle on Stoneforge Mystic here. Seems like a sensible use of the Karn. And if they're using something to get rid of this and putting in the Kaldra, we're probably just resolving a Primeval Titan with an Amulet, so we're in okay shape. Dothy Voidwalker, sure. Yeah, so I don't feel upset about how things have sort of played out this game. I could just boat this Dothy. That might be a little too greedy, though. I just kind of don't want our Titan to die and then our opponent to get a Titan. But... let's see. Probably just best to just Titan. think I'm gonna haste this Titan. I think it's likely they're gonna Solitude it, but I got 2 backup Titans in hand. And it's never bad to have these lands in play. And it like helps play around future Solitude blowouts. Like now next turn we can also attempt to play and haste a Titan, whereas before we were probably locked into just you know, trying to attack and then after Solitude playing it post combat. Opponent let us untap, which gives us 3 mana. Unfortunately, we can't punish this really because I think I just want to grab a boat. Our opponent might play their own Karn, I suppose. But if they minus the Karn, we can boat the Karn. So they're only gonna get 1 search off a Karn if they do it. We know 1 card in their hand is Kaldra. So yeah, I don't hate how our Karn went, got us a needle and a boat. You alright?
No.
What happened?
Tripped on the bar and it stubbed my toe.
Ow.
Sorry for cursing.
It's okay. Engineered explosives. That's a pretty good one here. I think I kind of want to just boat kill the Stoneforge Mystic to keep my opponent off Kaldra. Does give my opponent another Karn activation. I think I can live with the Karn activation though. Interesting. Maybe I was supposed to point the Sky Sovereign at the Karn then? I don't know, I don't hate Ephemerate being out of my opponent's hand. Opponent's loading up on the equipment for sure. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we don't have anything lethal here. We can attack into Karn or into our opponent's face. I think attacking into Karn to unlock the boat is probably a good thing. I guess I can leave Crumbling Vestige in the deck and just tap like this and get a bounce land, replay the Slayers. So I guess we'll get Tolaria West, Simic Growth Chamber, bounce Slayers, replay Slayers. Get a Celestia Sanctuary and I don't know, probably just more mana. Play the Grazer. Gonna, of course, keep the Tolaria West in hand for transmuting purposes. Opponent has Fire and Ice and Light and Shadow in their hand. Could, like, if they play a Fire and Ice and equip it, like, say, like, put it in off Stoneforge and equip it, I can activate the Sky Sovereign and then block with the Grazer and the Sky Sovereign to prevent the card draw. And then next turn, try and just do a Valakut kill. Can also just take the hit. Protection from white and black. Why wouldn't I just block with Primeval Titan here? What could go wrong? Post-combat Dismember? Don't understand what just happened, but okay. interesting game. A lot of ins and outs on that one. Did I learn anything that makes me want to change anything I'm doing? Not really. Opponent has some enchantment destruction, so maybe be a little careful with the Urza Sagas. I could look at Cultivator Colossus. They do have a good amount of sort of like grief. It is good for going over the top of something like a Caldra with like a sword on it. I don't know. I think I'm okay. I think I like all my cards. Yeah, so this hand's just basically missing a ramp creature. I mean, we could of course get like Grief Ephemerated and all these cards disappear, but I like this hand. Even land isn't a terrible draw because it makes the turn 3 Karn a little less awkward. But ramp is definitely the best thing that we can get in this hand. Yeah, we're gonna let him draw a card. I don't think we're gonna wait a bunch of turns to do anything. Just stop the card draw. See what our opponent's doing. Drawing another bounce land isn't exactly where we want to be with this hand. It's basically just drawing a blank piece of cardboard as it stands. How interested am I in playing an Azusa here? Letting them draw another card? The other option is just sit around and do nothing, though, which kind of feels worse. Now we're at least like playing Karn next turn, paying for the Sentinel. Do they have the Ephemerate? They have drawn quite a few cards. Rebirth, okay. Basically Ephemerate. We still do get to develop a lot of mana. So we're basically just like one thread away from winning. Definitely a situation where I wish Cultivator Colossus was in the deck, but it is what it is. We're on a pretty quick clock, so hopefully our draw steps are kind to us. We have lost 3 of our threats out of our deck. So, maybe we lose. I think our hand was fine. I think there's a lot of ability to lose against these discard decks when they just discard your threat and then you don't draw another threat, though. Yeah, and this is part of why I sequenced my lands the way I did, was to just make our opponent not know what was in our hand, and so they might play a discard spell if they had it. So here's a critical turn. It's Karn, Titan, Summoner's Pact, Talaria West, or bust. Karn probably the best one. And that's game. So yeah. So there is a loss. Never fun starting 0-1, but hopefully we can bring it back.